Alright, so today we're going to talk about how to enjoy summer cookout food while staying on a healthy diet. I thought this was a good topic for it is the middle of summer, middle of July. We probably could have all used it before the 4th of July, but a little late on that, it's okay. Okay, so yes, good news. It's summer, fun, parties, get-togethers, that sort of thing, but there is nothing that is harder to stay on a healthy diet than being at a party or a potluck with a lot of probably unhealthy, really yummy options. So, okay, my first tip. So I'm just going to kind of talk about some different tips that I have to help you guys kind of stay on track at parties. And then we'll finish off with a couple recipes that I have for you guys that you can try. And they're good for, I think, for summer cookout. So if you need to bring something, I think they're good, healthy recipes. So, first topic is, are you nervous you're not going to be able to pass up those bad, unhealthy options? My first tip for that is to eat a healthy snack before you go. A lot of times when you're really hungry, if you're starving when you get there and you're just smelling all the good food and stuff, you're going to think with your stomach and not your head, and you're going to go for what you are craving and not what's necessarily best for you. So eating a light, healthy snack before you go is going to help take that edge off your hunger and just help you make a little bit healthier choices. Now, one thing I will say before you get into this doesn't mean that you can't have any of the unhealthy options when you're at these cookouts or in general when you're eating. It's a lot of times just about kind of portion sizes and make sure you're leaving space for also the healthy options to get your vitamins and proteins and essential nutrients that you need. The next thing is going to be to bring the healthy food option with you. So if you're nervous that there's not going to be any healthy options, then maybe it should be your job to bring something. I know that's my job with my family and friends. It's gotten to the point where they can just count on me to have their back with a healthy option. Whether or not they eat it, that's totally fine, but it's always good to have something there and something that at least you know you can count on, that you're not gonna starve, you're not gonna not be able to eat very much and not have anything to eat. So that's my tip for that. And then once you're there, this next tip is for when you're there and you can kind of see what is being offered. I would suggest to set your strategy, maybe even before you actually get into the food line. Maybe kind of just browse over the food really quick, see what's being offered, so that way you can figure out what your priorities are. So say there's some unhealthy options that you know you love, you have to have, and you're not going to be able to pass up. That's totally fine. But make sure you're getting those that you're wanting, but maybe passing some of the unhealthy options that you don't necessarily need to have. But sometimes when you're going down that line, I know from my experience, you just kind of see and you're like, oh, I think I would want some of that. And so you put it on your plate. And then you get down and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to have this. So you put that on your plate. So it definitely helps to kind of have a little bit of a strategy before you're up into the food line. And then make sure you're filling up also, again, on healthier options if there are any. And so, yes, again, right here, there's a point. You don't want to have to totally unskip the unhealthy options, but it's just about portioning them out, making sure you're not overdoing it, and maybe skipping the foods that you don't necessarily need to have. Make your main course count. So a lot of times your main course is going to be hopefully your protein option. So you want to make sure you're kind of getting a lot of your calories from this protein option if you can, especially if it's a low-fat protein like poultry, grilled chicken, turkey, anything like that. And then seafood. Seafood is pretty low protein. If those are one of your options, definitely go for that. If it's not, a lot of times like beef and that sort of thing. I mean, my husband's a farmer, I have beef all the time. But unfortunately, it does have a higher content of saturated fats, which is going to be our unhealthy fat options. So with that doesn't mean you can't have it. It just means that you want to try and limit those portion sizes. So if it's a burger patty, You want the patty to be about the palm size of your hand, not too much bigger than that, to keep it at the level that you're needing. And then you can also, again, at that point, if you did bring a healthier side with you option, you can always fall back on that, fill up on that a little bit, and then have your protein main course as well. Okay, I guess I can put this in those. I didn't put it in the PowerPoint, but that's okay. All right, next is to eat a rainbow of sides. So that means fruits and vegetables. When things are colorful for us, that actually means they're the best for us. So you want to keep your plate colorful and have as many different colors of the rainbow as you can. Right now, in season is berries. And berries are actually one of the lower sugar content fruits that you can have. So if you're someone that's kind of worried about your sugar intake, that would be a good option for you, because you still do need the vitamins that fruits have. And if you're not someone that really struggles too much with your blood sugar levels, then fruit is an okay place to get your sugar intake from. So, and then watermelon is another good option. Watermelon has lots of fiber in it. So fiber is really good for our digestion and a lot of different processes that go on inside our body. It also has water, so you're hydrating yourself while you're eating it. And when you're at summer cookouts, they're usually outside, it's usually really hot. So hydration is really important, and it's also a low-calorie thing that you can kind of munch on, but it still keeps your hunger down. And then cucumbers, zucchini, and summer squash are all in season right now. Those are good vegetable options. So maybe what you're supposed to bring is the veggie and fruit tray, and so people can fill up on that and have. Sometimes when it's just in front of you, you do go for the healthier options, but nobody really thinks about bringing that. So I think that's a good thing. And you can fill up on that and maybe kind of stay away from those heavier fat and carbohydrate options that are probably going to be available to you as well. Okay, last tip is going to be to stick to water. And I know that can be really hard at parties because they're going to be sodas, a lot of sugary drinks, alcoholic beverages, whatever it is. But a lot of those drinks are going to be high in calories, and they're kind of unnecessary calories for us. So if you're wanting to eat a lot of food, you don't want to get your calories from your drink. If you know you're already planning on eating quite a bit and getting a lot of calories that way, then don't add extra from your drinks if you can. They're also going to be high in sugar, so if you're eating desserts and fruits and that sort of thing, and then you're also drinking some soda or juice or sport drink or something like that, it's going to have a lot of sugar, and then your sugar intake is going to be quite a bit. Again, it's outside, you're needing to stay hydrated in the summer heat, so water is going to keep you hydrated. Those other drinks are actually going to be dehydrating you as you drink them, and so you're going to feel like you need to drink more, and you're just kind of slowly doing the opposite effect of what you're supposed to be doing. So water is definitely the best. Obviously you can have occasionally those drinks, they do not harm you, but in large amounts they're not the best for us. So, and especially if you do have like a lot of parties or maybe get-togethers that you have to go to in a row, you don't need to have one at every single one. Maybe one here and there at one of them, that's totally fine, but just maybe not every single time you go. If you're not a pure water person, you like a little bit of flavor, you can always add some fruit or cucumber or something to it to give it just a little bit extra something. There's what are they called now? There's carbonated. I was trying to say carbohydrate waters. Carbonated water is a thing. You have to watch out for sugar in that as well, though. And artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners are definitely okay sometimes, but they can have an impact on your digestive system if you drink them too much. So you have to be careful with those as well. It's actually kind of a shorter presentation today. So now I'm just going to talk about some different recipes that I have in your handouts. The first one, which is my personal favorite, is the cilantro lime chicken burgers. I don't have the full recipe in the PowerPoint, but in your handout, you guys do have the full recipe. And if you have any questions, you guys can kind of look through those right now and let me know if you have any questions on them. But those are really good. They have 21 grams of protein, which is quite a bit. And it's a pretty lean protein option, only 11 grams of fat. And a lot of the fat is healthy fats. So you're getting your healthy fats in there and not so much saturated fats as you maybe would be from the beef or red meat option. Like I said, those red meat options are okay. It's just have to watch them. 2 carbohydrates. Now that is only in the burger patty, so if you're eating it with a bun, you are going to have more carbohydrates there. So my suggestion is try to go with a whole wheat bun if you can, or I know there's low carb options for bread as well. And then the next one is the healthy pasta salad. So if you like pasta salad, it's a really good balsamic vinaigrette dressing. Lots of vegetables in it. You can even put more vegetables. I mean, if you want, you can make it as vegetable filled and colorful as you want as possible. And it's a really low calorie, low fat dressing. So I think it's a good dressing to even use on other things. Or like Cheryl said, you can just put your vegetables if you're trying to kind of stay away from the carbs. You don't have to do the pasta. 7 grams of protein, which is quite a bit as well, so you're getting some good protein from that. 4 grams of sugar. My recipe has a little bit of added sugar. You could totally skip that though if you want to. The next one is going to be the healthy 7-layer dip. I also really like this one. It's a staple. This one has 9 grams of protein because you're substituting in the Greek yogurt with a taco seasoning mixed into it, which I think still tastes pretty good, but you're getting a lot of protein from that and dairy. 2 grams of fat, so really low fat option. And 25 carbohydrates, that's totally fine. Carbohydrates is something that we need in our diet, so getting a little bit of it is fine. And then the last one is a little bit, if you have a little bit of a sweet tooth, you want a dessert. I even like this one just for at my house. It's really easy as well. So if you're wanting something quick and easy and kind of have a little sweet tooth, this is a good one. The only thing about bringing this to a summer cookout is they might melt because they are. You do freeze them. So if you have a refrigerator or something available, then it would be fine. But if you don't, that is something you'll have to watch out for. But it does have 6 grams of fat, which actually a lot of that fat is healthy fats coming from the peanut butter and the banana and the dark chocolate. It's with dark chocolate. 7 grams of sugar, which really isn't too much for a dessert, and 12 grams of carbs. So not too much there. You can even make this recipe as if you want to go healthier, you can substitute the peanut butter with almond butter, cashew butter, something like that. But yeah, I think those are a really good options. So that's all I have for you. But if you guys want to kind of talk now, if you have any questions about the recipe or even more tips on how to eat healthy at parties.
Do you find that the Greek yogurt tastes a lot different than sour cream? I've never made it without the sour cream.
I don't honestly notice it too much. I think it might be something that is kind of like an acquired taste. So if you're not a Greek yogurt person, you may not love it. But I don't mind it. And everyone that I've made it for seems to think it's fine. If you tell them it's healthy, then they'll be like, oh, it's healthy. They'll eat it. So
I use Greek yogurt with like the ranch packet
yes.
instead of like sour cream, and I think it tastes the same.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
I mean, the taco seasoning, I think, would kind of
It does kind of balance out.
And I like Greek yogurt, so it wouldn't bother me. I'm just, the people in my family are actually the opposite of that. Oh, it's healthy, I don't want any.
Yeah, that's how my family is too.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have like a little bit of more of a kind of bitter taste.
Yeah.
Greek yogurt does, but I think once you stir in the seasoning, it's pretty good. And with the 7-layer dip, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
I think it kind of.
I usually use cream cheese.
Like a sour cream.
It's crazy. I think you could do whatever you want with a 7-layer dip. You just kind of throw stuff on there, but yeah, I don't think the.
Yeah, sure. Do whatever layers you want.
Any other questions? For the cilantro lime chicken burgers, I really like mayo, Tabasco, and avocado on top of them. So that's good.
Where do you find your ground chicken?
I go to Dylan's in Salina, so I don't know what would be an option for that. I mean, you could even do kind of, I don't know, trying to think of how you do that. You could maybe shred the chicken yourself and kind of try and make patties out of that. I would think they'd maybe fall apart a little bit, but
Do an egg in there or something?
yeah, something to keep them together, keep it together.
They have grilled turkey, maybe.
You can,
That would be good, maybe.
you can sometimes find it in the frozen food section, you know, or at home.
I've got ground chicken before Walmart.
Yeah.
And Ray's sometimes I have things like that too.
Or like Din's Meats, or if they have it, or if they can make it burger.
Yeah, because it almost has to have that moist texture.
That's what I'm saying, to get it to stick
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
You'd have to be creative with that.
I just ask because I'm still struggling a year later with groceries.
Yeah.
I was used to